Lindsay. I am one of the two teachers with the 6th grade band, and I also direct the 7th and 8th grade bands. My cooperating teacher, my co-teacher, is Mr. Dave Gott. He also works with the 6th grade band, and before we get started, I would personally like to thank him for all the work that he's done in helping us get ready for this concert by taking out individual sections and individual players and working with them and helping them to refine and hone their parts while I was able to work with the rest of the band. That's one of the nice systems that we have here, so that those individual players that might need a little more help or sections that might need a little bit more precision with intonation or fingerings and the like can do that while the rest of the band can continue on and work. We are going to start our program tonight with When the Saints Go Marching In. At this time, Mr. Gott is going to be coming to the podium.
Just want to say a couple quick things. It's certainly a pleasure to work with your sons and daughters on the stage and in the chairs, and just having a great time. It's been a real pleasure to see young people behind me develop over just a short time. It was only about 6-7 weeks ago that we saw you all in the gym down over there and had a great experience with the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and high school bands in the Fall Festival. So it's great to have you here this evening. The next piece is by Ludwig van Beethoven. It's from Symphony No. 9, and it's called Ode to Joy.
One of the things that we do in the band department is to expose the children to music from different styles and cultures. So far, everything that we have been doing has been with the 8-note major scale. At the October concert, you heard a piece by Mozart. We just did one by Beethoven, one composer from Austria, one from Germany. Now we're going to switch to a 5-note pentatonic scale from Japan. And we have been working with this scale. It's a little different sounding than the 8-note major scale. This is a traditional Japanese folk song called Sakura Sakura, which I've been told roughly translates to the beautiful blooming cherry tree.
Our next piece of music is partly brought to you by the hard work of Mr. Lindsay. It's been very exciting. He's very versed in the finale program and inputted all of the parts for us, and we even had an electronic CD to listen to. This piece is called Band Song, and it has a bunch of new concepts, but just a couple things that you can listen for. One is a 3/4 time now. So we're in 3. It's very much like, but like a dance. 1, 2, 3, 1. Sorry. And then the next thing that you also hear in there are different dynamics and places where a full band is playing, and then small groups of the band members are playing, and it really does fit together and make it very much song-like. So we hope you enjoy Band Song.
We conclude our sixth grade portion with Jingle Bells. The 7th grade band portion starts with a march called Polaris March by John Edmondson. Polaris is another name for the North Star. Our second piece is totally different in nature. It is inspired by Latin rhythms, and it is a little bit more difficult piece. The last time we played this piece was with an 8th grade band, so it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's always good to have something to work toward. This is called Coronado. temporary equipment problem, one that's easily remedied, but he has to get it out of his cave. So the next piece is by Anne McGinty. Anne McGinty is married to John Edmondson, the composer of our first piece, Polaris March, and also the final piece we'll be performing tonight. This is called Metron Overture. Metron is a Greek word that means meter. And in music, whether you are a singer or a keyboard player or a band instrumentalist, meter refers to the number of beats in a measure. So this piece changes meter. Some measures are in 4 beats in a measure, some are 3 beats in a measure, some are in 2 in a measure. And it really takes some concentration to make sure that you are staying in track through this piece. So when he gets back with his reed, we'll get started. Okay. I'm a reed player. I know what happens to reeds. Just make sure you soak it, okay? Put it in your mouth and get it wet. Otherwise, it'll squeak. Just keep moistening it up. Keep wetting it and get up here. And as I mentioned, our final piece was written by John Edmondson as well. This is called Jazz Interlude. concert march entitled With Valor and Honor. Our next piece is written by a composer by the name of Frank Erickson. Frank Erickson has been a pioneer in writing for younger bands, and this overture is called Cameo Overture. Our next piece of music was written by an Australian composer. For many, many years, the only writers for band music were American. And within the last 10 years, we've been getting people from Denmark and Belgium, Germany, England, Australia, who are doing more compositions for bands, and they're finding their way into the American band market. This piece is called When Full Moons Light. Before we perform our final number, I would like to thank all of the students in all of the grades for all of the hard work they've done to prepare for this concert tonight. I would like to thank all you parents for your support and encouraging your children in this great activity. I'd like to thank Mary Schaub, who took care of doing the programs, and I would also like to thank the high school students who helped with the programs and ushering and stacking chairs and doing all this extra work, and they're going to be getting National Honor Society hours for it. Our final piece is from a movie that came out, I think, last year or maybe 2 years ago, called The Polar Express. And this has some Michigan ties in it. If you know anything about the movie, the locomotive that is featured in that movie was based on one that used to be at Michigan State. When I was a student there, it was out by the old power plant. They've since reconditioned it and moved it up to Owasso, and you can take a train, a locomotive train ride on this same train. This is the train that's featured in there, and they also did all the recordings of this particular locomotive, the whistle, the boiler sounds and everything, and incorporated it into the movie. This piece is called Rockin' on Top of the World. On behalf of Mr. Gott, I would like to thank you all for coming, and please drive carefully on the way home tonight.